Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. Here with your boy Torres Finney and my co-host Tyler Layfield. What's up, Tyler?
Nothing much coming off of a good night of some college football. I'm happy with how things played out, and we got some interesting discussions to hop into today. We had the group chat's been hot so far this Sunday afternoon, so maybe we can delve into a little bit of that if you want to. So
yeah, man. I'm excited, but first, let's get off to one of the things that happened last night. We saw a huge thing go down. UFC 295, man. The main event obviously fell out. Actually, it was supposed to be between John Jones and Stipe Miocic, but that main event fell out about 3 weeks ago. So we had to settle for the co-main event to be moved up to the main event with Yuri Prozakas versus Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira going for his second title in a different division, while Yuri is trying to reclaim the title that he never lost because of injury. And it was a good fight, man. It was a good fight early on, man. Those leg kicks early from Alex Pereira really put it on Yuri. And I mean, Alex Pereira, you got to remember, he's literally he was a two-time division glory kickboxing champion. That's literally the best in the world in kickboxing. So he was a two-time division champion, and he comes over, fight. Yuri has a very unorthodox style. It's hard to mimic. It's hard to find the rhythm. But man, I think Yuri, once he got inside the pocket, he put Alex Pereira on the cage, caught him with a left hook. Some people have a few elbows, and then he got the mount. And some people thought it was an early stoppage. I did at first as well. But Yuri said he was out. And, the way he fell, when you don't fall that way and not be claimed out. And I thought that was the case as well. So I did think that, the stoppage was solid. I would have liked it for it to go a little bit longer, main event, title fight. We're all fighters, man. So we're more of a guy that likes to go out on our shield. I've always told people this. I tell the referee this every time before I fight. If I get put down, make sure I'm down. I don't ever want it to be questioned. I'm sure Yuri would have thought the same way, but hey, some people thought it was a good stoppage and some people didn't. So, but overall,
this is the guy like right there with the dude was kind of on his hip, and he was just sitting there just doing like this and popping on the side of his head.
Yeah, he was because he got dropped with the left hook, then he shot for the double, and then he did multiple elbows, and after the few elbows, he just fell back, and Alex jumped straight into mount. But most people allow a few punches to be thrown in mount, but Mark Goddard, stepped in instantly. So it is what it is. I just felt like for a title fight and the main event, you should allow it to just go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
A little bit like let me see that he is definitively out. But it is what it is. Obviously, heck, that's the beauty of MMA though, you don't get no 10 counts like you do in boxing. Once you get dropped, you better move on the ground or your fight could be stopped. So, and then you had the co-main event with Tom Aspinall and Sergey Popovich. And man, that was Tom Aspinall is incredible, man. I think he's if anything, if there's anybody that could potentially beat John Jones, I think Francis Ngannou actually would have had a really good shot, obviously, but now he's in a PFL. But if there's anybody else, I do think a guy like Tom Aspinall can do it. He's very athletic. He's fast. He can grapple, and he has power. I mean, he knocked out the big scared Russian. I thought Sergey was going to beat Tom. I thought Sergey was going to – I thought Tom Aspinall was going to be too small to be able to take down a guy like Sergey. And Sergey hit him, and he took it. And then Tom Aspinall hit him, and Sergey dropped. So it was wild to see him knock out Sergey Popovich in the fashion, and let alone the first round. So, incredible fight from Tom Aspinall. Definitely high hopes on him, and I'm excited to see his future.
Tell me this. I know I didn't watch the fights last night, but I was keeping up with it on social media, and last night one of the things that kept popping up was Poatan, Powhatan. I don't know. Like it was about one of the fighters. Explain that to me.
Yes, that's Alex Pereira, Nick's name.
His nickname. What is it? What does that mean?
Powhatan. It's like a warrior. He's a hunter. He's hunter.
Yeah, and he had the bow or whatever. I saw him doing that. Okay.
That's Alex Pereira's nickname. Yeah, Powhatan. You gotta remember he's from Brazil. They have a lot. Everybody have a lot of different names.
Mhm.
I know the UFC is obviously marketed here in the U.S., but obviously when you go to these other countries, you gotta catch on. Like when I went to Abu Dhabi, man, you gotta catch on real quick. They don't say it in their they say it in their language, and they say it in different ways of all these different type of nicknames and sort of ways they describe fighters. But yeah, that's what Poetin means for Alex Pereira.
Okay. All right. So we had some big news drop earlier today. Jimbo Fisher, and this is kind of the writing's been on the wall. We've talked about the bless you, but
Thank
we
you.
talked about these, how he's been, performing at Texas A&M since the huge deal, since the major recruiting classes he's brought in, with all the money being poured in. And speaking of which, I think somebody mentioned it was like it's $77 million they're paying just to get rid of him now.
Lord.
Yeah, it's years upon years of just mediocrity, not performing to the level that these fans, the alumni, this association, at Texas A&M, it's not what they wanted when they made this deal. And Jimbo was a big hire, was a big splash hire. Leaving Florida State after all the success he had there to go to Texas A&M, big major move, but they had their ups as far as their recruiting wins. They won the recruiting national championship there. I know at least 1 year.
Number
But
one.
the results on the field, they beat Bama that one time. That's
Yeah.
pretty good, right? That means something. But really, outside of that, that's been your highlights. There's been a lot of lowlights, and main thing here now, looking at it. I mean, let's just take a look at some of the. I have an article here pulled up, and they list out some guys that are going to be possible replacements. I just want to hear your thoughts on these and who you think would be good, who you think wouldn't. Now, this one's titled 9 of the top replacements for Jimbo Fisher. Number 9 being Deion Sanders, and obviously this is more of a pipe dream.
That's not happening.
But should it be discussed?
No,
It's not
that's not
happening.
happening.
He ain't leaving.
No, he's not
I
leaving.
don't think so either. That one, I don't know how that one would shape out anyways necessarily, but the money behind it, like Dion with that kind of money behind him, I don't know. That would be something to watch. You also got Cliff.
Then Deion used to be in Texas. Was he coaching football in Texas for high school?
I believe so, because that's where Shadur and Shiloh were playing. I believe. I think Shiloh was playing. I know Shadur was playing at a school in Texas. I can't remember the name now, but
I'm about to say if they were playing in Texas, then I mean, maybe you can make that connection, but
like he knows the area.
Yeah, I really don't think that's the case though.
Next, you got Cliff Kingsbury. That's one that we've seen. I mean, obviously, last stop was at Arizona in the NFL, the Cardinals. Big hire from Texas Tech, I believe it was, right at that time. Offensive guy. But I feel like we've seen this story before with Lincoln Riley. What are your thoughts on that one?
I'm not too sold on Lincoln Riley. I mean, yeah, I think Texas A&M is not necessarily looking bad from an offensive perspective, but I think some people would say that. I think some people would say that, but I mean, I feel like Texas A&M just dropped 52 points yesterday.
Who was that on?
Granted, it was on a sorry team, but hey, they still did.
I still think they just haven't lived up to the expectation, especially with the pedigree of athletes they've brought in.
I give you that.
Defensively, I like where they're at defensively. I mean, you got athletes on athletes on athletes, and you've actually already had your first guy enter his name into the transfer portal, a guy that Georgia fans are familiar with. He was a longtime Georgia commit before flipping to Texas A&M at the end of last year's cycle, Raymond Cottrell. So there's already one guy leaving. Are there going to be more that follow, or are you going to be able to retain this defensive talent that you have?
That's true.
There's a guy coming up here, I think, that would be good. But
I would say real quick now, looking at what they've done so far this season, I mean, 52 in the first game, 33 in the second. Granted, they gave up 48 to Miami, 47 against Louisiana Monroe, 27 against Auburn, 34 against Arkansas.
You're right. There are some kings there.
I mean, they've scored a good little bit, throughout this season. I mean, I'd say their worst game was against Tennessee, which is inexplicable. You can't look like that. But granted, Tennessee was ranked 19th at the time. They lost 20-13. Their losses is only to the top rated teams. But I do see your point they've lost with really good talent to teams that I should be able to eventually beat. I should be with looking at Texas A&M. I should beat a Tennessee. Looking at Texas A&M, I should be able to beat a Ole Miss. Granted, that's a hard game to win on the road. You know, they lost 38-35. That's a hard game to win on the road. With my talent, I should be able to beat Miami. You know, I agree. But I just think, I don't know, man. I'm so skeptical on things like this. You know, I've said this a lot. I've said it all the time. I don't like sometimes when the SEC, especially in the SEC West, when these SEC team fires these coaches way too fast. Now, granted, in this case, Jimbo been there since 2018. He's had how many seasons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you've had 6 seasons to get it right. Heck, in 2020, he went 9-1. You know, so I mean, he's had some okay here and there. He's had 8-4, 9-4, but I just think when you're dealing with a division that you're in, you have to be like, you got to be like a little bit more lenient. When you got LSU, you got Alabama, you got a Georgia, you know, on the other side, you got a Florida,
you got Texas and Oklahoma coming into the mix now.
I mean, I just think you can't be up and firing everybody every time because you don't necessarily have a very successful season. I agree with you though. With the talent, when you had the number 1 recruiting class, you thought, what was that, 2 years ago? You thought, okay, we're about to see some type of improvement. Granted, we haven't seen it, so I can see the coaching change. But I mean, what you gonna go to? I mean, you know, what you gonna go to?
I mean, that's where we're leading to, and you know, the next guy they bring up here is Kurt Cignetti, coach for James Madison. You know, a team that you kind of talked about in our group chat earlier today. You know, they're doing a splendid job, but they can't even go to a bowl game. I know they've kind of appealed that to see if they'd be able to maybe get in this year after what they've done. They've earned it, in my opinion. I mean, it'd be cool if they could, because I feel like they have earned it.
I thought I saw it got declined.
I didn't see that part yet. I know that they asked for it, but they've done a good job this season, and I hate that they're kind of in a way being punished. But he's one, so that's one to keep in mind. Another one they brought up is Chris Kleiman, coach of Kansas State, a team that's done pretty good. What do you think about those two? James Madison coach and Kansas State's coach.
Well, I just think with a James Madison coach, I mean, yeah, you could bring him in, but I would like now for him, yes, there's be a huge pay upgrade, but I think I would like for somebody, if you want to compete with Alabama and LSU and all those top tier teams right now, then you might need to get somebody that's on the ball right now, you know, and maybe a James Madison coach. I agree. I mean, he walked straight into the FBS. That's literally the only reason why they can't play in a bowl game, because you get a 2-year ban the moment you switch over to FBS. So he's instantly come over to the FBS and is making noise. Now, what's the other coach? I don't know. Who? Chris Kleiman
from Kansas State. You know, they've had some big success these past couple seasons.
Yeah,
they're a team that I respect. I think they're a decent team this year too.
I don't think that's it.
They're not great, but they're decent.
No, I mean, no, they're decent. I just don't think that's it.
Yeah,
I don't think that's it.
You got Jeff Traylor from University of Texas San Antonio. Urban Meyer is one that was thrown in. Of course, that's all. He's always going to get thrown into. I really wouldn't be shocked if that did end up happening. It's just I feel like teams fall into that trap over and over. Two that I really like are Lane Kiffin and Dan Lanning from Oregon. So you got Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss, Dan Lanning from Oregon. I just love Dan Lanning. Guilty as charged. I just love that dude. I think he's just an awesome coach. I like him a lot. I like the stuff I see from him, like in the locker room and. You know, the way he prepares his teams and everything, I really like him. And then Kiffin coming in, he would obviously save the offense. He would bring in the offensive talent. You give him the money to spend. Shoot, I don't know, man. That would be pretty dangerous. What you think?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I mean, the Dan Lanning would be good, but I don't see Dan Lanning leaving Oregon. I mean, why?
He's got set up pretty nice.
I'm about to say
the Big Ten too.
I'm about to say Oregon's in a really good position right now. Like, I would not leave. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job at Oregon the last 2 years. Obviously, this season is still to be almost done. But heck, with the rest of Oregon's schedule, I don't see anybody really beating Oregon, to be honest with you. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think he's doing a phenomenal job. I don't see him leaving. Lane Kiffin, I mean, he's about to become a coach football whore. Meaning he's just about to
Yeah.
jump all over everywhere, man. I
Uh,
don't think that's it. I just don't think that's it. I think he
yeah.
needs to stay where he at Ole Miss. He just got Ole Miss not too long ago. Stay at Ole Miss. Take your time.
I could see him doing it. That's one I could see realistically happening.
Wow.
Is him going. And then the last one they bring up is Mike Elko. He is the current. Let's see. So so it says right here. I believe right now Elko. Let's look here. I'm pretty sure Elko. For a minute there, I was like, was he the defense coordinator there? But he is the head coach at Duke right now. Actually, wow. Yes, he
Wow.
used to coach with Jimbo. He was his defense coordinator, I believe that there. But now he's the head coach at Duke, and obviously he's done really good at Duke. Duke's been a team you kind of have to look out for. Pushed North Carolina really hard just this last night. They've done some good stuff up to this point, pulled some upsets, things like that. Obviously beating Clemson. What do you think there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sold on those guys, man. I'm really not. I mean, Duke has looked much better. Maybe I got a little salty taste. They ain't playing my boy John Tavius, so I'm probably not too
Yeah.
fun. But overall, man, I'm not really sold on some of these replacements. I feel like we're almost going in a lateral. It's a lateral move. I don't. Besides, like a guy like you say, Dan Lanning or a
Lane Kiffin.
potential Lane Kiffin. I can see those being slightly upgrades. But everybody else you've named so far, I feel like that just be a lateral move. I don't think, obviously, unless now, granted, the first guy you named Dion. I mean, Dion could get a crazy boatload of talent there, but that's an outlier. That's crazy.
But they've already done that. They've already gotten talent there. It's just they can't do nothing with it. They need somebody that'll be able to do something with it. Which it would be interesting to see Dion with that amount of talent, I will say.
That's true. That would be interesting. I think he's going to get more of it now in the coming years, at Colorado. But
so,
I just think Jimbo. I just think they just going to have to look for somebody that is just going to be even more of a slightly upgrade to replace Jimbo.
Most realistic guy to you for this job is who?
I mean, I really don't know, to be honest with you.
I'm saying Lane Kiffin. I'm gonna put my stake on that one. I think because like you said, Lanning I could see, but like you said, there's good reason to stay. Ole Miss. Maybe, I mean, he's been there for a little while now. Is this going to turn out right for him? I mean, is this the place for him? Is this where he wants to stay long term? Is this the hotbed that he thinks he can be, that he can get the recruiting? Why not go to Texas, a state full of talent with NIL that you can just spend whenever you want, get the guys you want year after year? Shoot, I think he'd take that. I think that's enough to get Lane Kiffin involved.
You think that's enough to get Lane Kiffin?
Oh yeah, I think I could see Lane dipping out for that. I really do. That's just me, though. That's just me.
I mean, look, A&M is a high-paying job, so you're going to get paid when you go there. That's
have resources.
You will have resources, but I just don't think. I don't know, man. For some reason, I mean, it's a hot job to be the Texas A&M football head coach, but I just don't think some of these coaches leaving the position that they're currently in would be in a better situation. I think you're setting yourself up to go in and be put in a fire. You can be like, oh man, it's one of the – look, I'm going to use a great example. All right. Former coach, Coach Rogers, obviously he left a really good position to go to an even better school, better talent, better place, heck, technically more money. But I don't think that was necessarily the best move in that case. Granted, he wanted to upgrade. Granted, look, if somebody goes there and make Texas A&M, a firepower, that's going to definitely help elevate their career wherever they want to go, wherever they want to succeed to. But if you go there and fail, it's not going to help your chance. Now, granted, like a guy like Coach Roddy with the Thomas County Central got them boys on the feet, he got them going on the roll. But for college, That's not going to help your case. Lane Kiffin is not already on a good track right now anyway. So he
I
needs
don't
to
know.
continue to build that
I'm
offense.
him. I see that $77 million just to walk away. I don't know, man. What's the
If you
harm
work
in
Coach
giving
Ford,
that a shot? What's the
I mean,
harm, man?
no longer coaching, like being a really good head coach anywhere else.
He will always find a job somewhere, bro.
Oh, he's gonna always have a job. I think he's
I
gonna
say
be just.
he will never have trouble finding a job. Like with Jimbo, where does he go from here? Does he join that Saban analyst tree? Does he go to Georgia and join like as an analyst? I don't know. I don't know
I
about him.
think
But
Jimbo's a guy.
Kiffin, I feel like people are like welcoming with Kiffin, like, hey man, come on in. You know, if you can be an analyst, you can be an offensive
so
coordinator.
funny to me, dude. And I mean, he's a great offensive talent. I mean, he is a great offensive coach. But that's funny to me because I've never been sold on Kiffin that much. I mean,
I don't know, man. You've heard Kobe talk about it. Kobe's like, man, I would welcome Kiffin back to be our head coach when Saban leaves. You know, he's real hot on him. He's real hot on him, man. Yeah. You don't remember hearing that from Kobe? I mean, Kobe's all about it, man.
I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this. You tell me what team has Lane Kiffin ever coached that's had a good defense?
It hasn't been that way. He's of that same. He's cut from the same cloth as Lincoln Riley, Cliff Kingsbury, all them.
Exactly. I don't like guys like that. I don't care how many points you can put up. You can't stop
I'm
nobody.
just saying.
I'm not a fan of
Hey,
that.
touchdowns are sexy, and that's what people see, man. You know, they love that offensive firepower, and it'll get you paid and it'll get you jobs. So I think he'll.
Yeah, you're right. It puts fans, put guys in seats, which brings in money. Congratulations, but. For me, I've never been a fan of just a bunch of high-scoring football. I like defense. I like low-scoring games. I want to see some heads being knocked and blood being dripped. So that's what I want to see. And if you ain't got no defense, you're not gonna be on my list. Like you got to show me that you got.
I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same way. But I'm just saying, like, how often do we see these guys get hired? All the time. Like they always get a job, man. It don't matter what. Like they always get a job.
And yeah, look, you're right. They get hired. They tell you the results. Like, look, he's gonna be
that is true as well.
He's gonna be the richest, no winning coaches in history. You about to have. I mean, look, they're gonna have
wipe those tears away with those dollar bills, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Jimbo is so sad right now with that 77. Dude, that is. Oh my God! Like that kind of money is just ridiculous. So, I mean, what do they
get something like that similar with like Florida State leaving Florida State? Did he get something like that?
Yeah, well,
because
I think he left on his own. He left. They were blindsided kind of by it. He dipped on his own. Yeah. Okay. But needless to say, that's something we're gonna keep an eye on. We got to keep an eye on. We'll keep this updated throughout the weeks. But let's get into to some Week 11 games. Michigan. And Penn State, Michigan traveling to Penn State. Torres, there was a lot said about this one, kind of coming into it. Penn State. Hey, have you ever seen the clip of the guy? They are who we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? Like that's me with Penn State every year. That's me with Notre Dame every year. They are who we thought they were. I'm tired of hearing the talking heads talk about how good Penn State is, how great they're going to be. Drew Allard, all this kind of stuff. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like it's good. They got a good defense. Offenses. Oh my God, dude, it is atrocious.
See, I like defensive games. Yeah, I just said this, but it's a different.
I don't mind a good defensive game as well.
But boy, it is different when it is bad offense. Yeah. That's why I'm a Steelers fan, and right now I'm struggling to watch them boys. Like our defense is phenomenal. That's what keeps me watching. But the offense, oh my gosh. And that is what Penn State is in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania. They share the same thing. Oh, no, they don't. They don't share the same thing. That's not Pittsburgh. But still, they're in the same state. All right. Penn State is right there. Look, they both got the same offense. It's absolutely trash. I mean, Penn State. I sat there, so I didn't get a chance to watch when Penn State played Ohio State.
I did, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I was kind of on my phone all throughout. It was just ugly. It was nasty. It's gross. Like it is awful to watch.
A bunch of 1-yard runs, incomplete passes.
And I like how you framed it. You like good defense, like a good defensive game, but it's like when the defense is forcing this kind of stuff. Like it's one thing when it's just a bad offense and they can't do anything, whether you give it to them or not, compared to, the defense really made a difference there. And we've been, we talked about it. Penn State, the legitimacy of Penn State. I have that on this title of this show. They ended up losing this game, and good Lord, I mean, it was 24-15. What was the score of Georgia Tennessee last year? Do you remember that when it rained and
26-13.
26-13? Did that score tell the whole story, Torres?
No, it didn't.
Does this score tell the whole story?
No, it's
not. No, it does not. So I don't really care. You can try to hype this up. I see a team that lost by single digits to two top five. Yeah, I see a team that lost by single digits to four college football playoff bound teams. Shut up, man. 2 of the 4, whatever. I don't care, man. I don't care. That does not tell the story. Like this was not a close game. I don't care what you say.
They scored in like the final 2 minutes when the score was 24-9 or something like that. So
yeah,
and
it was never like Penn State might win this, like there was never that feeling, correct?
No, it was never that once at all. Never once at all. Look, let me tell you something, man. I sat there and watched Penn State. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to watch it when they played Ohio State. I was looking at a lot of the Twitter comments. A bunch of people was talking about how bad Penn State was offensively. I wanted to see this game for myself. All week, I kept hearing about, potentially Penn State. And because you remember when I kept saying, well, the Big Ten champion.
Here's my bold prediction. When Penn State beats Michigan, yeah, we heard that one. We heard that.
I know, man. I sat there and said, I was like, in our group message, I'm just going to tell you the whole thing. I thought that I believe the Big Ten champion will be undefeated, regardless of Ohio State or Michigan. And, Kobe made a point about potentially it could be one loss all the way around. And I said, well, who would these guys lose to? And they come to Penn State. And I'm like, I don't see it happening. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't see it. Look, let me tell you something. I've told people this. I'm a Georgia fan, but I have a team that I like to watch that I slick root for, just like, I like to see this team do well. And Ohio State is one of those teams for me. It used to be Stanford a little bit back in the day. I used to like watching Stanford. But Ohio State is one of those
fun. They were fun to watch.
They were fun. I used to always root for. I love when they used to upset Oregon every year when Oregon be like at the top team. They would take them out for us. But I would love to watch Ohio State. And I used to be like, I would like Ohio State to get a championship here and there. They do good. I was also rooting for them when they had Fields. Man, I wanted to see Fields be successful. But this year, I am as honest as it gets. Ohio State is not it. I am not sold on Ohio State. I am not sold on Michigan. I am not sold on.
I like Michigan more than I like Ohio State. I will say that because I think they have like a tangible identity, like it's like tough nose, hard working. Like I really do. I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of like this team, and coming from a guy that's team was one of those that's marked by a cupcake schedule. I mean, you could kind of say the same thing about Michigan, but I mean, I think both teams, you kind of have that aspect about them. I don't know. I just really like it. And, I don't know what you thought about the coach coming in and coaching for Harbaugh being out, like that kind of thing, that the little interview after the game, but they're able to impose their will with the run. The defense plays great. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd still take, some teams over them, but, I don't know. I'm kind of with you though. Ohio State, there's a lot left to be desired.
Okay, look, Michigan imposed. Look, see, this is what gets me. All right, Michigan has done this the last 2 years. All right, can somebody explain to me what have they done this year that they don't look any different from the last 2 years? Because 2 years ago,
pretty similar.
They looked the same like they did against Georgia. Then last year, they looked no different. Oh, they beat Ohio State. Okay, they beat Ohio State in a very close game where they shot the score, but the running game broke out, and then they played TCU. And then what happened in that? They got blown. I mean, they got basically they were making all type of turnovers. JJ McCarthy is in the running for Heisman. How? This man
they're winning games. And he's looked better than in years past. But, I mean, you go and look at the stat line. Let's look at the stat line for this past week. And not that says everything, because I'm not one of those that's going to sit there and tell you stats mean it all. I mean, but when it comes to Heisman, I feel like it does mean a ton. They're going to always bring that kind of stuff up. But, dude, my boy was 7 of 8 on passes, 7 for 8 for 60 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So he didn't mess up, Torres. And he had 8 carries for 34 yards. I'm sorry, but you won the game, but man, that wasn't yeah. I'm not huge on it. I'm not huge on it. And I'm not trying to turn this into a Michigan blast. This ain't a Michigan blasting session by any means. I do like Michigan. I think they're a top 4 team right now. I will say that. Ohio State, I still would put them in the top 4 right now, but I'm still not all the way sold on them. I think Michigan beats them today if they play. That's just me. I don't know how you feel. That's how I feel. Penn State, on the other hand, too, we talk about them. Their best win up to this point is against Iowa. And I don't know how much weight you can put on that. You and I have been very vocal about that. Like, show me who their best win is. They're going to finish as a 2-loss team because they play Rutgers and who's the other team they played that I listed out earlier? It was Rutgers and
Michigan State.
And Michigan State. It's not you're going to be a 2-loss team. Congratulations, but what have you done? You have beat Iowa, the team that's all defense and no offense.
That's right.
You may as well. You're I mean, honestly, they're you light. They're Penn State light. They're all defense, no offense, and I don't understand. If you're going to sit there and you're going to hype up this team, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. And we got into it today about them versus Mizzou. And I wish Craig was tuning into this one. I wish he could chime in on this. I'll see what he says later on. But them versus Mizzou, head to head, I'd pick Mizzou against them. And sure, I think that Jackson was right in our group chat today when he was like, well, Penn State would be favored. They probably would. They have the name. They have the tradition. They have the history, that kind of thing. I think they would. I think we just live in a world, Torres, where Penn State holds more of a name brand value than Missouri. But Missouri, to me, they've proven points. Their best win, you could say to this point, Tennessee, Kansas State. To me, both of those wins mean more than a freaking Iowa win. So that's where I'm at. I have to get that off my chest, though. It's just like the normal Notre Dame seasons where I have to get on my soapbox and talk about how they're overrated. Penn State, you're overrated. You're done. Like this is another 10-win season. Congratulations, you're in Mark Richt territory. What are you gaining, man? I don't know. That's me. I'm off.
All right. So look now. This is where we will disagree. I do agree on everything you just said, except for the point to where for Penn State. Now look, I'm gonna say this. Actually, I'm gonna retract just a little bit. So earlier we talked about in the group message about Penn State has never had a roster, to where they could be necessarily national championship contenders, except for the year when they beat Ohio State and they went on and won the Big Ten championship, and they literally should have been in the playoffs, but they actually put Ohio State in over them for some God-given reason. So, but it's small things like that. But I will say this. I do think what James Franklin has done at Penn State has been phenomenal. They are a great team. They do win games. They do sometimes upset Michigan, Ohio State here and there, but they've been consistently nothing but a 10-win team, sometimes
I'm not saying great team. I'd say good team. That's me.
I would. Well, I don't know, man. I would have to, because look, I'm not putting Penn State up there with
my boy Dennis from work, Mr. Dennis. He teaches out with me at Howard Middle School. He commented, "LOL, they only threw the ball once in the second half. He's definitely overrated." I believe this is too.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, JJ
McCarthy.
Yeah.
We agree wholeheartedly.
Well, that's what I think with Penn State. I think Penn State is more overrated than more mediocrity. I think they're more there.
You know what? You're probably right. I just call it like that. I'm getting in the heat of the moment calling it.
Because, winning that many games consistently. But again, you do win that many games. But if you ain't beating nobody to win that many games, because like you say, I mean, we looked at that schedule. Look, when you playing Massachusetts, Northwestern, Illinois, Delaware, West Virginia, Maryland.
Which West Virginia, I will say lately that has looked like honestly, you might can make a case that West Virginia is more of a win to hang your hat on than freaking Iowa. Like West Virginia's been okay lately. Like they haven't been that bad, but continue.
You're right. Rutgers and then Michigan State. If those are going to be your wins that you claim to fame, yeah, I mean, congratulations on your 10-win seasons. But Like, because in some of those 10-win, 11-win seasons, they did beat a Michigan. They did beat a Michigan State when they were ranked, or they did beat Ohio State. So in some of those seasons, they did beat a really good ranked team. But over the past few years, we have seen this consistently. And I'm gonna be honest. I just don't think a Penn State team is something that we can really necessarily hang our hat on. You know, people want to talk about Georgia's schedule. How the heck is anybody gonna hang their hat on a freaking Michigan or Ohio State, hang their hat on a Penn State? Ohio State was ranked number 1 in the country because of how they beat Penn State on the road. You telling me that one win against Penn State was enough for them to push Ohio State over Georgia? So now
I'm fine with. I'm not going to argue with being number 1. I don't really care. It don't mean nothing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people don't care to be on number 1, but see, that's my problem though. That's the thinking of the committee. You see, this is what. See, I was arguing with Tanner about this yesterday. You know, he's like, I don't care about being number 1. It doesn't matter to the end of the season.
It don't matter to Kirby either. He was on an interview this past week with McAfee. He really don't care. He don't look at any of it.
For the players and the coaches, that's how their mindset should be. But the way I'm thinking, because I'm a fan, I'm on the outside looking in. I'm not only thinking about obviously what they're thinking about. I'm also thinking about how the committee is thinking. If you think their mind gonna change, they're thinking like this right now. What the heck you think they're gonna think in a few weeks? You know, like
my thing is you control your own destiny. Just win out, and you don't got to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. If you win out, you're right.
Kind of like taking it to the judges, right? Taking it to the judges in your fights. Just do your job. Do what you're supposed to do. Handle what you need to handle, and you ain't got to worry about nothing. But if you let you go to decision.
You're right.
And that's where you got some problems because you do got some weird crap, just like you have. It's a good little, metaphor here. Good little.
You're right. No, you're right about that. You're right about that.
Never, some of them are just off the wall, and it's the same way.
That doesn't negate the inevitable ignorance of the committee or the judges in that case. Like it doesn't. Like you can't be like, oh, well, we're gonna make a bad call. Like there have been multiple years where the committee, you're like, what the freak? Wait, how y'all read these guys? There's been multiple years of that. And I know Georgia with them undefeated, especially with the long winning streak. If they go and beat Alabama, granted, it would be no problem. As for a Georgia fan, I agree. Mm-hmm. But there literally has been cases like the last ranking. How the heck is Ohio State ranked above Georgia?
Yeah. I would like to know. Well, we ended up realizing it later based on the rule that you said, right? I mean, ain't that right? Yeah. Didn't you brought up the rule that you can't face the same person you just got done facing or something like that? They try to make it where you don't face.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, well, see. Oh, you talking about last year. I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about is last year. Like, that's
last year, that's
why we probably played them in that.
Yeah, that's in their criteria. If you've already played in the regular season, they don't want the rematch to be the first game in the playoffs. Yes, that it goes into account. Yes. The same way I'm talking about with Alabama and Texas. I've told them, I'm like,
if now things were to stay out there, Texas would get in.
I feel like they would get in. A lot of people disagree with me and think Alabama beating Georgia would push Alabama over Texas because
depends they don't. What else goes down before that, though? We have to see what else the others finish at. Like if Texas finishes out how they are, they're in no matter. Like if they go the rest of the season winning out, and we're getting off on the tangent, but if you go the rest of the season winning out, become the Big 12 champion, you're in over Bama regardless. The Big 10 champion will be in there regardless because they're going to be a one. They won't have. They'll be undefeated and there'll be a Big 10 champion. At least that's how we feel. We feel like whoever wins that'll be that way. You got the ACC. Florida State don't look like they're going to lose. I mean, they're already in the top 4. How are you going to bump them out?
You're not going to.
And then let's just say Oregon, one loss. They end up getting that revenge against Washington. How do you bump them out? So that would be you could potentially see that.
If Washington wins the rematch,
or if Washington wins out, that could be.
Washington will have more ranked wins than anybody.
Yeah. So I mean, you could see a case. And we're getting off on a tangent now, but yeah, there could be a case there. There could be a case.
That's true.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing real quick. Don't have to take long on it. Arizona versus Colorado. This was a must-win for Colorado if they wanted to get into a bowl game this year. Obviously not happening now. They ended up dropping this one late to Arizona. It's been a long skid so far for Dion now. Hot start, but it's not finishing out so hot. It doesn't look like. So had to highlight that one here. They won't be making a bowl game. Who else is left on their schedule, Torres? Do you know off the
They
top of
have
your
to
head?
win out to make a bowl game, but I
Oh, they
don't
have
think
to win that. Okay, I thought they had to win this one to make a bowl game. My bad.
I don't think they gonna be winning out. And be honest with you,
Who are they playing?
looking at the rest of their schedule, I do know they got to play. I just had it up. Let me go back and see.
I'm trying to pull it up as well. They have, let's see here. They have Washington State at Washington State, and they have Utah at Utah. So unfortunately I don't see the Utah one happening. Utah actually looks pretty good. Even though they just came off the loss that we're about to get to here in a minute with Washington, they're still a pretty solid team, and it's at their home, their home field advantage. So that looks like this one's wrapped up. But he Prime's gonna build off of this. He's gonna get better. Next we got Tennessee versus Missouri. This one was a pretty fun one to kind of keep up with. Let's see. This one ended.
We both called that one last week.
Yeah, we called Missouri, and even though I think on game day everybody picked Tennessee, I want to say even Nolan Smith picked them, but 36-7, Missouri controlled this game. I didn't even have to really watch this one long. I watched the very tail end, and I enjoyed it. I had a great time watching them because I forgot about last year when Tennessee ran it up on Missouri, and they ended up getting some revenge here. And Tennessee, sure enough, at the end, they wanted to pull some kind of little stunts, trying to push people after the whistle and crap like that. But you never know. So we do got some people chiming in on the chat. We got Jacob Baldwin, good friend of the show. Is Bama, UGA the two best teams in the country? There's a case to be made.
It's a case to be made.
There's
a real good case to be made. I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all might call me crazy, but I'm liking that Oregon team a little bit.
I am too. I do like the Oregon team. I'm still thinking you can make a case for like a Michigan. In my opinion, I'm not huge on the Ohio State. I still think you can make a case for Michigan, though. I kind of respect them.
I'm not going huge on Michigan, actually. I'm not huge on Ohio State, but it's crazy as I think Ohio State might get them, might upset them. It's hard for me to see Ohio State losing 3 years in a row.
I see it. I see it clearly. Wow. And where's the game being held at this year? Let's take a look.
It'll be in Michigan.
Yeah, man. I don't even know the line to that yet, but I'd take Michigan. I mean, all things considered, Harbaugh being out, but Michigan can punch you in the mouth. I don't trust Ohio State to do the same. So Tennessee, Missouri, though, anything you want to add here? I know that Cody Schrader, the running back from Missouri, looked really good. Louis was bragging on him over and over and over. He said, man, he's probably the best running back in the SEC. Because during the Ole Miss Georgia game, I was like, nah, Judkins is really good. He's probably the best running back. He's like, no, he ain't the Missouri boy. He's sitting there saying like that. But he's like, Missouri boy, pretty good. And Cody Schrader's got he has a place to like. There's an argument to be made there with him being one of the top in the SEC because he gave us the business. He gave Tennessee the business, and Tennessee's defense is actually okay this year. They're not a bad team. I think he's pretty good. I think he's pretty solid. Missouri, man, they just continue to amaze me. I think they're a pretty solid team this year. I like them.
They got Florida, and then they got somebody else at Arkansas, I believe, one of them. They're about to finish this season off with an opportunity at being at 10 wins. That's a huge success. I do think Missouri is one of the great teams this year. They're potentially going to finish out the season in the top 10.
I think they will.
I'm sorry, y'all, but give me Missouri over Penn State any day.
Yes, same here. I'll take Mizzou over Penn State. Argue with your mama because I don't really care. argue with somebody else. I don't care. All right, I guess we can move this on to Utah, Washington. For a little while there, this was kind of like a little back and forth affair.
It was a really good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. Washington won this one 35-28. Another good game from Michael Penix, 332 yards, passing 2 touchdowns. Didn't really do much on the ground in this one, but he did rush in a touchdown. Pretty solid game. Utah's not a pushover, y'all. Utah's actually an okay team. They're a team I respect out of the Pac-12. So that's what I take away from here. Washington is winning the games they're kind of supposed to. And then let's look at the rest of the schedule for them because I mean right now they're number 5, and they've got Oregon State, which we're going to highlight here in a little bit. That's their last big game. Then they got Washington State. Oregon State is at Oregon State. That's gonna be you got to get over that one, man. You got to get over that one.
That's going to be a tough one, man. Oregon State is a really solid team. Oregon State has a lot of good things going for them. Like DJ Ukulele has like researched his career in college, and he's been playing really good for Oregon State. And yeah, I remember Oregon State got a tough game not only for that one, but then the next following week they got Oregon. So Oregon State is actually really having to making themselves have a shot at really trying to get in the Pac-12 championship. So they're still right there for contenders. Obviously not the playoffs, but they could make some damage in the Pac-12 and they're able to, go out here and beat Washington or Oregon. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see that one happening just yet. We'll get to it eventually. But Washington looked good, man. I really like Penix. If there's anybody that should have a shot at winning Heisman, him, Bo Nix.
Some people are still saying Jaden Daniels, and just with all the losses and stuff like that, I just don't know.
He's played his game though. I mean,
he's playing his tail off. He really is. I just don't know if you can. Why would you? But you can't really give it to him over somebody that's not losing games. And then
Robert Griffin had 3 losses and he won Heisman.
Oh, I guess you're right. So it could be. He really could. Then I guess you have a good point there. That's a good comparison.
If you're rattling off incredible stats, and obviously if you're not the reason why we're losing, I mean.
Yeah,
because it's not like they're losing. Oh man, they lost the game 20-13 or 20-10. No, they're literally losing games 55-49, 44-28. Like they're losing games by like crazy numbers.
This is Jaden Daniels' stat line from this past. Oh my God, it actually is pretty good. Gracious, I did not know it was this crazy. Man, he actually had 600 all-purpose yards. He had 372 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. He had 234 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. Good gracious. Good grade a day is
good grade a day. I know.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, that's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. So yeah, he could pull an RG3 on us. He really could. I got to give it to him. Then I did not realize. I saw every other time they would take a break. Oh, a studio update from ESPN. It's Jaden Daniels just maneuvering his way around all the Florida's defense and just running down the field. I was like, I love that too. So it was fun watching Tennessee lose. It was fun watching Florida lose. That was 2 good ones because it's going to be great. Florida missing another bowl game. Screw Florida.
Yeah, I know. Screw Florida, dude. Screw Florida.
Hey, by the way, while we talk about Jimbo, a guy being fired, let's talk about Napier. Do you think he'll actually get fired? I know my dad he's bringing it up now. Do you think they'll fire him, or do you think they'll give him a little bit more of a chance? 1 more year, maybe.
How long has Napier been there? That's the question.
This is 2 years for him, I believe.
I'll give him 1 more year.
I think he gets 1 more year. That's my opinion. And then they paid him pretty good too, so they'd have to come off some money. It's not going to be Jimbo money, but it's some money.
It's money, yeah. I'll give him 1 more year. I'll look, Billy. All right, look, you've been here long enough. Our pedigree is known what we do here in Florida.
He's making $51.8 million, just in case you wanted to know. 7 years.
Thank God Almighty. See, this is the thing. You put all this money into somebody. See, now I'm looking at his record at Florida. He went 6-7. He's probably going to be 5-7 or 6-7 again. All right. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. After looking at his record, I don't know. You're right. I mean, I think they give him 1 more year. I think they give him 1 more year, but he could get fired halfway through the season, like Jimbo. He could get fired halfway through the season if he doesn't step it up.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't step it up, he's getting fired halfway through the season.
Yeah, I think he could be right. All right, let's move on to Texas versus Texas matchup here. Texas taking on TCU at TCU. Texas don't really have a tough schedule left. I guess you could say this might be one of their last tougher matchups. Away, Quinn Ewers coming back. Only ended up winning the game by, 3 points? Yeah, 3 points, 29-26. And I know what's going to be said this week. They should drop down 1 and Alabama should take their spot. What do you think, though? Because right now I think they are 7, Alabama is 8, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look at that. I believe that is correct, though. I think that's right. Am I right on that? What do you think? Yeah, I think that's right. 7.
Yeah,
and then
7. I think Alabama was who's 6? Wait a minute, I'm looking at it.
6 was Oregon, I believe.
Yeah, 6 was Oregon, 5 was Washington. You're right. Yeah, Alabama's 8 and Texas is 7.
So what do
Yes.
you think? Should they drop based off of that performance and only winning by 3?
Um, they're winning. I mean,
They're winning.
they're winning. The only loss was to Oklahoma. Granted, we know what happened with Oklahoma, losing back-to-back games to Kansas and Oklahoma State, but
Mhm.
they're winning. And I know I saw something online where they've had a huge lead the last 3 games, and in all those 3 games, they've they had a huge lead against Kansas State. They had a huge lead against TCU. Who else they had a huge lead against? They had a huge lead against somebody else as well, and they just kept giving up. They give up the lead, man, and struggle to finish the game. So
Yeah.
I think that could hurt them in the grand scheme of things. But I told people, I was talking to people yesterday, and I said Texas is the last chance for the Big 12. So, I'm be honest with you, I think they're gonna wait and hold. I think they're gonna leave Texas right there for as long as possible. Texas is gonna be
Mhm.
right there for as long as possible because this is the last chance for the Big 12. The Big 12 conference is literally about to go away. Like when you got Oklahoma and Texas going to SEC, you surely about to go away. So this is about to literally the last chance for the Big 12. I think they're gonna keep Texas in there as long as possible, as long as Texas continue to win. Texas get a chance to redeem themselves in the Big 12 championship. You got the head-to-head winner. I don't care what part of the season it happened. We've had times. Look, there was times when we beat Clemson 2 years ago. Now, granted, I don't think Clemson to make the playoffs that year. Did they? No, they didn't. No. So, granted, whatever, regardless of what happens, we won a highly ranked game. It was 3 versus 5 2 years ago. When we won our first national championship. That game mattered. Texas being number 11 ranked, going on the road against number 3 team. Granted, it was week 3, but guess what? That game mattered. That's the purpose of college football that we always talk about. What do we always say? Every game matters in college football. I don't care how long ago. Yes, the improvement is huge, improving, which Alabama has. Texas has a little bit declined a little bit here and there, but it's still improvement. I think you got to keep Texas over Alabama, man. You beat them.
Mhm.
You beat them. I don't care what. And you had look, majority of the guys that are playing now were playing there. They just wasn't as developed as they say. I do see the improvement. I do think Alabama would probably beat Texas if they played right now, but they have played already. They've already played in the season, and Texas has beat them. I think you got to keep Texas above them as long as they got the same record. As long as they got the same record, you got to keep them above them.
Louis chimed in. He said Sam Pittman will be fired tomorrow from Arkansas. I did look on Twitter just to see, and there are some stuff saying that could happen soon. They just lost to Auburn this past week. It has not been a good season for Arkansas, so that's another guy that could be hitting the market. Good call out. Good call out. All right, let's finish this last week up with 2 more matchups. USC, Oregon, another loss to USC. They lost 4 out of their last 5, I think is what the number is now. They're 7-4. I want to say, or they're
7-4. 7-4.
Yeah, 7-4. It's just it's ugly. This has gone downhill real quick. Oregon, another good win to their resume, if you can say so. I mean, I could still consider that a pretty good win. 9-1 now for Oregon. Like you said, Oregon, that's a team I like. I mean, and you can get pissed off about it all you want. You can cry about it. I don't really care. Bo Nix is playing his tail off, 412 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. They had a guy, Bucky Irvin, run for 118 and a touchdown. Defense actually plays okay. I mean, you keep Caleb Williams and them down to 27. I think that's a decent little margin. They had one guy had 2 catches. Troy Franklin had only 2 catches, but 147 yards on those 2 catches for a touchdown. That's pretty crazy.
Wow.
So another big win for Oregon against USC. Anything to add there?
I just think Oregon is really stepping up their game, man. They're really stepping it up. I mean, look, they've played some tough teams. Granted, I know they're not as good as we thought they were, granted, but they beat Colorado when they was undefeated in the rank. Then they went on the road, had to play Washington. They lost to Washington in a really, I mean, if anybody, I watched that game. That game was neck and neck.
It was.
Oh my gosh. And it came down to a missed field goal at the end of the game. Literally 36-33. I don't hold that too much over them. I mean, I think they're that good. They go on the road and beat Utah 35-6.
Yeah,
man,
it's a statement win.
That's a statement win for sure. Then obviously, they had to play USC. They beat USC. They got Arizona State. They'll be Arizona State. Then they got Oregon State at home. Another ranked team, which I think they're going to close out. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I like Oregon, man. I cannot wait. I'm
I
hoping
think they come out of the Pac-12. I think they
I'm
do.
hoping Washington beats Oregon State. I'm rooting for them because I want to see Washington versus Oregon for
everything on the line. Pac-12 championship game. It would be fun.
That game's going to matter, and the winner of that game obviously will be going to the playoffs. They will be going to the playoffs.
Another thing to quickly add, we did know about this, we forgot to mention it, but Louis right here to remind us, Penn State did fire their offensive coordinator today. So we did know that. But we forgot to mention that. So that is
deservedly so. Deservedly so, Louis. That offense sucked.
Yeah. All right. Last thing for this past week, Ole Miss UGA. Thoughts on this? A big win for UGA. Let's see. Final score ended up being 52-17. Great offensive showing. The defense started off slow, like we always do. It's not a surprise. They let them drive all the way down the field and score. We were able to get pressure. We were able to make big plays. That's like the best offensive game I think we've had all season. We were averaging big yards per carry. We didn't get to a third down until midway through the second quarter, bro. That's it. We were getting everything first and second down, just staying on schedule. It was awesome. I enjoyed watching it so much. Still some things you can touch up on, but guys are making plays. So I mean, nothing really to complain about. Let's see what Tennessee has. I will say I'm glad Missouri beat Tennessee because like their will to win this coming up week is pretty much all gone. I mean, what are you playing for at this point? You know, and I think that's what these players think. I mean, y'all could say it all you want. Like these programs, 10 wins is awesome for them. But what do the players think? If you're not in the college football playoff, do you know what I'm saying? We've seen guys just give up and they call it a season. Oh, I'm just going to go train for the draft. You know what I'm saying? To these players, it's all or nothing. And I think that's where Tennessee's going to be at. I think this is just the end of it. Maybe they could try to end on a high note kind of thing. I do think we see a little bit of a less push than we would have if everything was on the line for the East. You know, had Ole Miss beat Georgia, had Tennessee beat Missouri, this would have been a big matchup, you know, but now it's just it's kind of another game in a way. I mean, obviously we're not going to take it like that. And there's probably, Tennessee, maybe not so much. I don't know. We'll see how they come out to play, but I still feel pretty confident in this week. But big win by Georgia. That's my takes. What are yours?
Yes. Look, the way Georgia has played right now, man. I mean, look, what did I say on the show? I said this is going to be their best performance of the season. I called it, and man, what a game to show. The number 9 team in the country. Oh, well, again, our schedule, we ain't play nobody good anyway. So this
this don't mean nothing.
I hate this, and look, I even said it last week. I do think Alabama will pose us problems. But I still think. But let me tell you something that made me a little bit more confident is after watching this game. Now, yes, I know Ole Miss ain't got the defense of Alabama. Yes, I know that. Yes, you ain't telling me nothing I don't know. But what I am going to say is, and I don't like to play football math too much, but I will play it here.
Okay.
The last few teams that UGA played, that Alabama has also played, look at the margin of victory. All right. Now, granted, yes, I know there was one touchdown score yesterday that Kentucky basically, scored an extra touchdown, made it 49-21. But Georgia beat Kentucky 51-13. All right. Ole Miss and Alabama, I watched that game. I watched that entire game from start to finish. And Ole Miss had so many opportunities to take advantage of Alabama miscues. And they just kept, and now granted, I give props to the defense. Props to the defense. Wouldn't have scored like 10-10 at halftime anyway.
Tight. It was tight.
So it was 10-10 at halftime.
Milroe's grown a lot since then, though.
Oh, you're right. A lot of things, and Milroe has grown. But Georgia, so if they've grown, and I've also heard Ole Miss has gotten better since then. Okay. Well, if that's a more improved Ole Miss team, then what the freak are we? And I like what Georgia has done so far because Georgia, for one, has incredibly improved defensively and offensively. Carson Beck is so comfortable in that pocket, bro. He is so comfortable. He's looking good. He's making phenomenal throws. The defense, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. Every first drive of every game, I get so worried. I'd be like, God, can we get a stop? And I was texting out of the group chat, and Kiever and Tanner was like, man, it's just the first drive. Stop calling. I'm like, bro, We can't. I don't care if the first drive. That's being okay with it. That's being okay. They'd be like, oh, well, it's just the first round. It's okay to lose. No, we don't want to be okay with losing that. We want to.
I get what you want to always be awesome.
Yeah, we always want to be. I'm sick and tired of seeing teams do 14, 13 play drives, 80 yards, go down on field and score. I'm sick of that, but one thing about Georgia, when they settle down, boy, do they settle down. And man, I'm so happy for Georgia. And just knowing, I just know Georgia will beat the piss out of Ole Miss, and next week we'll have almost a barn burner with freaking Tennessee. Hopefully we go out there and run. I want us to run shop with Tennessee, which I think we will, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a push from Tennessee against Georgia.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. So let's get into some Week 12 picks here. Let's see here. I'm trying right now. The ESPN app doesn't have the odds, like it doesn't have the lines for everything so far for this week. So I'm gonna pull it up on DraftKings Sportsbook, and let's see here. The first one we're gonna do is Utah, Arizona. So we got Utah and Arizona. Arizona coming off the big win against Colorado this past week. I guess you could call that a big win. If you're Kobe, you don't really care about it at all. Let's see, because I know he was discredited in Oregon's win against them. But Utah, number 18 Utah versus number 21 Arizona. It's at Arizona. They're both 7-3 here. I'm trying to find the line for this one, but let's see here. They are, man, it's hard to find. Okay, right now Utah is a 1-point favorite in this game.
Wow.
The way it works for me, I think that if Colorado can keep it close against you, I think Utah can as well, and I think they can actually win. I'll take Utah to win this one on the road. I got them covering the point. That's me.
So Arizona, before Utah, they has beaten 3 straight ranked teams. Again, Kobe made a good point. There's only been 3 teams with 3 ranked wins this year. That's Alabama, that's Texas, and now that's Arizona. Arizona won 3 straight games with all ranked wins. They're a really good team. I'm gonna go with Arizona, especially with them being at home.
Okay.
In this game, I'm gonna go with Arizona for this one. I just think, they beat Oregon State at home. They beat Washington State on the road. Mm-hmm. They should have beat USC, and they lost to them in triple overtime. And they had a really tight game with Washington. They only lost to Washington by 7 at home. So Arizona is not a bad team. Arizona is a solid team. But I'm going to go with Arizona in this one.
Okay. So we split on that one. All right. Number 5, Washington traveling to number 12, Oregon State. You laid it out there. I know Washington's undefeated. How many losses does Oregon State have up to this point? Is it 2?
2. They only have 2.
Okay. So they have 2 losses right now.
8-2.
Washington is a 1-point favorite, and I'm going to take the road favorite again. I'm going to take Washington to cover. I'm going to take them to cover 1 point. I think they see the end goal that they want.
They're a 1-point favorite.
That's it right now. That's all I can get on DraftKings Sportsbook at the moment. I swear to God, I can send a screenshot if you want to see it. That's at this moment. At this moment, they are a 1-point favorite. That is all. And if that's the line if that's the margin right there, I'll take them to cover it. I'll take Washington to win that game outright by more than a point. So that's me on that. I think they see it's right there, man. It's there for the taking. If they just can finish this season out, they can achieve everything they want, and this is the next step to doing it. I think
this is going to be a really tight game for them. I think this is going to be a close game.
It probably will be tighter.
Oregon State is nothing to play with. Like I said, I've had a lot of respect for the Pac-12 a little bit, and DJ has really shown off his career. And Oregon State, they're a good team, man. They're a good team. But I'm also going to go with Washington. I think Washington edged this one out. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win only by 7 or win by like a field goal. So it's going to be one of those type of games. But I'm not. I just think Washington is going to do enough, and then next week Washington, I have to play Washington State. Man, Washington State has had a huge fall off. Washington State was ranked undefeated, 4-0, and now they have lost 6 straight games in a row. So That is wild. I know. I've just never seen no fall off like that. You've won 4 games in a row, beat 2 ranked teams in the process, and then you just lose all the games you play in a row. Like, wow. But overall, yeah, I think I'm taking Washington.
Okay, my bad. I meant to flip the name over there to it. I'm just now doing it. So Washington versus Oregon State is who we were talking about. All right. Lastly, we got number 2 Georgia traveling to Knoxville to play Tennessee in Neyland. Number 13 Tennessee. At the moment, they are number 13. That will drop. They are 7-3 right now, just coming off the loss to Missouri. Right now, Georgia is obviously they're going to be the favorite here, but they are a 10-point favorite. 10-point favorite here, so they have to cover 10. This offense is humming. I think this defense will get right. I think they cover the 10 now. I like where we're at right now. I'll take Georgia to cover the 10.
I'm taking Georgia to cover the 10 as well. I do think Tennessee pushes a little bit coming out. Going to Neyland isn't easy. But I think we got the team to do it, man. I'm gaining more confidence in this team as the season goes on. Like I said, that Ole Miss team showed me a lot. It showed me this team is what they say it is, and especially with us getting healthy, man. I didn't bring it up in that game against Ole Miss, but Kendall Milton,
he did look good. He is worth mentioning. Thank you for doing that. He is worth. That's the best game I've seen that man have. That's awesome.
Gosh, man, dude, he looks so good, man. I'm telling you, man. There's just certain guys that I'm looking at right now, man, and I'm like, this is it. This is it. And it's like I'm liking my chances against. But at first, I was telling people I feel like we could play in a shootout game with anybody. I feel like our defense would be good enough to get stops.
We will get stopped. That's what I'm saying. I actually trust that offense now to put up points.
Yeah. At a time, I don't know. I couldn't. And you know what? Looking at a guy like
Dad looked over at me. He goes, I never thought I'd say this, but Georgia's offense looks better than their defense. Is what he said. So last night. So
what about last year?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't know, man. This offense looks like it's on another level this year. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh, I agree.
I was like, he's like, man, Beck is good. I was like, I looked over there. I was like, oh, really? I was like, so what happened to all that stuff you were talking about earlier this year on Beck? What about Bobo? What do you think about him now? Because remember, he was on these chats at the beginning of this year, even before the season, talking about Bobo's going to screw us. He's going to find a way to screw us. Bobo's been in his bag.
Bobo's been in his bag, boy.
He's been in that bag, baby. He's been in that bag. He's been doing good. You got to give them their flowers.
I've been really proud of Georgia this year, man, and this will really settle the seed if we can go in and finish the season and do what we got to do. And I am pumped. I am pumped for the SEC championship game in 2 weeks, y'all.
Just looking ahead to that, I mean, it's already locked in. Georgia versus Bama. It doesn't get bigger than this, man. It's going to be this could be what some people may. You remember how we called? Ohio State versus Georgia, the national championship? I could see some people claiming UGA versus Bama in the SEC championship game is the national championship. I could see some people saying that. So that's the stakes, man.
I'm going to say this. We're going to have to do a joint podcast for that one.
We are. We're going to need to.
I am pumped for the UGA game. It got me because let me tell you something. Look, there have been times,
Jacob, if you're out there, you better.
There have been times where I've been watching and I'd be like, I don't know, man. Alabama's gonna be tough. Alabama is gonna be tough, but this is one of those years where I'm a little bit more confident than usual playing Alabama. Most of the time, I'm not. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate when
Milroe. I already know right now. Milroe's gonna make me pucker my butthole, man. He's gonna be making me. I'm gonna be nervous as crap with that sucker running around.
Every time he has the ball in his hands, I'll be sitting like, please. We got a quarterback spot.
I'll say this toward the end of the game this week, and Jackson Dart is by no means, or Spencer Sanders, are they no means anywhere near the level of athlete that Jalen Milroe is. But I will say our defensive linemen on the edges, that they were actually setting the edge pretty well. There was one play in particular. I know Spencer Sanders toward the end of the game, he was trying to get outside, and Chaz Chambliss was just holding on to his block. Keep, staying with him, stay on the outside to push that quarterback in, and sure enough, it worked. It was to a T, exactly how you wanted to be played, and he did. All right, last thing we're going to do here: college football predictions, playoff predictions for Tuesday. As things stand now, you got 1 Ohio State, 2 Georgia, 3 Michigan, 4 Florida State, 5 Washington, 6 Oregon, 7 Texas. We'll go to top 10, 8 Alabama, 9 Ole Miss, 10 Penn State. Now, obviously, Ole Miss and Penn State will be dropping out. Tennessee will be dropping out of 13. You could see a shift.
Missouri
Louisville at number 11, Oregon State at 12, Missouri at 14. I think maybe Missouri's done enough to where they can jump in the top 10. What do you say?
I do think Oregon State jumps up. They're going to do that to help. They're going to help that game out.
Washington. Yeah, I think
they're going to make that game.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, they're going to make that game. Top 10 matchup.
Make us some money. Make us some money.
It sounds so much better than saying, oh, the number 5 versus the number 11 or 12.
Yeah.
They're going to tune in for this top 10 matchup. So they're going to be, Oregon State's going to be top 10. I do think this performance, you beat the number 9 team like this, 52-17. I'm sorry. I know, but most people don't want Georgia 1, but Georgia going to be 1. Georgia will be 1.
Well, you think so?
Like I said, we will see the mindset of the committee. If the committee keeps
I told my dad that. I was like, I could see them bumping them up to 1. Do I want them to be? No, I don't really care. But I could see them bumping them up after a dominant performance like that. I don't know if I'm willing to say they're going to do it or not. I don't know what I put the odds at for that.
I'm pretty confident that they will.
Okay.
But if they don't, I know where their minds are. And that also tells me where their minds are as well for
Alabama. With Michigan as well. I'll say that. Yeah, the Texas, I want to see how much stock they put into Michigan beating Penn State. Is it enough for them to say, oh, man, that's awesome? You know, like all these other people think. And
I mean, who they going to jump?
I don't know.
They had 3. They're not going to – Michigan ain't going to move.
I don't think they're going to jump. Yeah, they can't jump Georgia after that win.
No, they're not going to move.
I don't guess you can jump Ohio State after they just tore.
No, they're not going to move. No.
Yeah, so I guess you're right. You're right.
Teams are never going to move. They're just going to swap places.
You're right.
I do think Georgia go to 1, Ohio State go to 2, and Michigan at 3. If they don't change that, like I said, that gives my mind. That's the reason why I'm giving a case about Texas staying above Alabama. If they keep Ohio State over Georgia, especially after the performance they just had against Ole Miss, there ain't no way they're going to move Alabama over Texas. I'm sorry, especially after you've beat them. Texas is going to stay over Alabama. I got Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4, Washington 5, Oregon 6, Texas at number 7, Alabama at number 8, number 9, potentially Oregon State. Who else was at 9? Who's at 9 and 10? Oh, yeah, Penn State and somebody else.
Ole Miss and Penn State.
Ole Miss and Penn State. Yeah, you're going to probably have Oregon State and Louisville move in. No, that's going to help. Look, that's going to help Florida State. That's going to help Florida State having Louisville. Oh, man, top 10 matchup in ACC championship game. You know, these guys know what they be doing.
They do.
They be doing.
Yep. All right. Well, any last things you want to add here?
No, I'm just going to say real quick. We haven't talked much NFL, but, man, I am so pumped about the NFL. Reason why? My Steelers just won. We are 6-3 for some God-given reason. I don't know how, because we are a sorry piece of trash of a football team. But we keep finding ways to win, and we got a good defense. Also, I am so happy because the Ravens just lost. The Ravens just lost to the Browns. Yes. Wow. Lamar Jackson threw a pick 6. So,
wow.
I know. So, jeez. They have lost. And I quote, they were up 24-9 and they lost the game 33-31. So many people were trashing Deshaun Watson. Now he drove him down the field to win the game. I was keeping update with it. Wow. The Texans won, beating the Bengals on the road. Yeah. Dude,
CJ Stroud's legit.
Ow. He had 356 yards today. 1 touchdown. I mean, he's been showing out, man.
A lot of people are saying that maybe the Panthers messed up by taking Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. What do you say?
I 100% agree.
So far, it didn't like it.
I said this.
But God forbid you say that though, because you're going to be you're going to be attacked for that one.
Oh man, these Alabama fans, they got to learn how to stop sucking up to everybody. You got to accept when somebody's not good. We accept when somebody's not good. Hey, look, I was one of the biggest Fromm guys that there was. I love Jake Fromm. At the end of the day, he was not the great quarterback for us at Georgia. I know some people like to use all these different excuses here and there, but he just went in. And I love Jake Fromm. I loved him in high school. Even when I used to root for him, I was like, man, I would like for Zio Hoko with someone we play him. I wanted to take his head off. But that's a different story. Like, I'm rooting for him, but you don't have when you're not a good player, in the realm of what you're doing, you're just not a really good player in the realm of what you're doing. All right. And, in this case, Bryce Young, but look, I can't say Bryce Young isn't good because this is his first year. Rookie year. Everybody have bad rookie years. Heck, Peyton Manning, his rookie year went 2-14. So you'll have bad rookie years. It is what it is. We'll see. We'll see. Give him some time. We'll see before we make this judgment and assumption.
Kobe Reed wanted to chime in here at the very end. Penn State over Mizzou. You're dead wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong, Kobe. Get out of here. Get that trash out of here, man. Kobe, we're going to do a collab, man. Torres already called it SEC championship game. We're going to have to do a collab.
Yeah, collab on SEC championship, Kobe. Collab on you and Jackson. We'll get Jacob on here. It'll be good, man. It'll be good. We'll be able to do a really good podcast, and I really do think this is gonna be the big game. And Alabama, Georgia, yes, sir. Let's do it. Alabama, Georgia is the game that everybody been waiting on all year long. We've been waiting. Actually, everybody been waiting on that game for the last 2 years. Since the national championship in 2021. So this is it. This is it.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. All right, guys. Well, thank you all out there for tuning into the live stream. If you're listening on podcast, thank you so much for supporting us that way. If you do want to listen on podcast, we're on any podcast platform out there. If you want to support the show, just click in the description, click in the link tree, and you can support us a multitude of different ways. So we appreciate you guys just giving us the support that you have. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.